Hello and welcome to the Time Management Mini Course, Day 2. Okay, so in this video, I'm going to show you how to manage your time in such a way that you're being super productive, getting so much done that you actually have time left over, okay? So let me share my screen with you. And, oh, whoops, I'm a couple slides ahead here, maybe. Okay, so let's recap. In the last video, you wrote down 3 to 5 categories and you organized them into blocks of time on your calendar. In this video, we're going to talk about filling those blocks of times with actionable items. This is also known as your to-do list. This will help you in being laser focused and incredibly productive. The first thing that you will want to fill in, of course, is the scheduled events, like your appointments, workout classes, preschool drop-off, things that happen at really specific times. Like for me, every Monday and Wednesday, I have a step class at 9:30, and every Friday is family movie night. We started at 5, we order pizza, okay? Those things go in first, and the next is your to-do list. So the first thing we need to do, though, is talk about your big goals for the year. So when you just have a rolling to-do list, it's right up there with the fly by the seat of your pants method, which is probably the method that you're going by right now. I know that was for me. The time management of the future, though, takes to-do lists to a whole new level, and that is through incorporating your goals into them. Okay, so you've got these blocks of time on your calendar, but what exactly are you going to do during them? This is where your to-do list goes. Now, I could say I'm going to work from 11 to 2, and I could get caught up on Facebook scrolling for 2 hours and end up getting nothing done, okay? When you fail to plan, you plan to fail. This is the time to do activities and actually check things off your to-do list. So, you might already have a really long to-do list, but let's organize it a little bit better for you. And we'll do this by talking about your great big goals. These are things that you want to accomplish in your life in your non-negotiable categories. Okay, so here's some examples. So say with God, I want a goal that I have is to do a morning routine or a devotional every weekday. Say I'm just maybe doing it once or twice a week, and I really want to do it every weekday so I have a solid foundation with my Creator. Say an example I have for my family is to have a date night one time a week with my husband, once a week, actually scheduled in every week, and quality time with my kids every single day. For myself, it could be lose 10 pounds in 2 months, or for like a business, start a new business or take my current business to the next level. The next thing that you're going to do is you're going to take these goals. So I want you to think about the goals you have and then break them down into actionable items. And these items are going to be your goal-driven to-do list, okay? So your goal-driven to-do list. So now what you're going to do is take the great big goals and reverse engineer them. So you'll work backwards and break down your goals into quarterly goals, monthly goals, weekly goals, and finally, daily goals. These daily goals are the bite-sized steps that you will be consistently taking every single day in order to be incredibly productive and actually achieve your weekly goal and your monthly and finally your great big goals. People have big goals, but they have no roadmap to get there. So many times the year ends and people just can't understand why they didn't achieve their goals. They feel like they have nothing to show for it. Well, they probably did not work to get that goal. Did they take the time to figure it out and how to achieve it? So step 1 here is, what is your goal? What do you want to achieve? You have to actually break it down into bite-sized chunks, daily to-do list steps, and then actually put those actionable items on the calendar and actually do them to achieve the goal. They literally need to be scheduled into your day. So here's an example. Say I want to lose 5 pounds in 60 days. Let's reverse engineer this. So I have a background in exercise science, so this is how I know these numbers, but 1 pound is 3,500 calories, okay? So to lose 5 pounds, I need to burn or be deficient in 17,500 calories To do this in 60 days, that means I need to either burn or not eat an extra 2,041 calories per week. This means I need to burn an extra 300 calories per day or eat 300 calories less per day. See how I broke that down? So I went from the 60-day goal, broke it down into what I needed to do per week, and then broke it down to what I needed to do per day. Now, I know that walking or running 1 mile will burn 100 calories, and I also know that 1 ounce of cheese is about 100 calories. So I could walk 2 miles every day and not eat that slice of cheese that I eat every day. And there it is. There's no guessing. So now, and I know exactly what I need to do every day in order to achieve that goal, and I can just write that in. So remember, reverse engineer. You want to think and brainstorm. What do I have to do every day to reach that goal? These are micro actionable items. Work backwards, break it down, put in that time and figure out what you're actually going to do. Okay, so now you want to start filling your time blocks with your to-do list. So now take your super long rolling to-do list and turn it into 3 to 5 smaller to-do lists. One list for each of your non-negotiable categories in your time block schedule. So if you don't take the time to do this, you're going to end up getting distracted and you'll get lost in the social media scroll and not actually take any steps towards achieving your goal. So you take your 3 to 5 categories, write down your goal within each category, and just work on one goal at a time. And then take your to-do lists for that goal, okay? When your vision and goal is clear for each category, you can actually start seeing a path to achieving it, and that's when things start to happen, and that's kind of the fun part. This is where you actually start to become productive and make progress. Once you have your goal-driven to-do list written down, you can write down how much time each one is going to take you to complete. So to make time blocking effective, now that you've got these great big goals and your actionable to-do list to achieve each one, let's talk about one more thing that will make your time blocking even more effective and productive. So take a look at each task on your to-do list and write next to each one how long that task is going to take. This is the biggest way to make a difference in getting things done in the time you have allotted. So here's some questions to ask yourself as you're estimating time, okay? How long will it take? Things generally take longer than you might think, okay? Just yesterday, my husband was like, hey, I only need 2 hours to mow the lawn. I'm not kidding you. 3.5 hours later, and I said, this is exactly what I'm saying. Generally, things take longer than you think that's going to take you to do. So it might take him 2 hours to mow if he just went nonstop, but he has to stop and empty out the bag of grass and then put it back on and get started again. So he actually has quite a bit of stopping time when he mows. Another question is, ask yourself, how long does it take you to do? Not how long should it take you, but how long does it actually take you? Living in denial does not change reality, guys, okay? And it's just going to mess your schedule up. So just be honest there. And if you don't remember how long something's going to take you, time yourself. So next time you have a task that you need to do, time yourself and just time it, and then you can do it 3 times, take the average. Remember to add in the extra things like time for setting something up, time to empty the lawnmower grass back, travel time, cleaning something up. Doing this is going to eliminate the feeling of having too much to do and not enough time. Like grocery shopping, for example, add in the time it takes for you to actually drive to the grocery store, time for you to come home and empty the groceries out of your car, okay? Think about how long it actually takes. Time blocking is going to train you to be better at estimating how long things take. When you reach the end of a task before the block of time is up, or you reach the end of the block of time and still have stuff to do, you know that you guessed wrong. So first, make a note to block off or rearrange time later in the week to finish the task. But take a second and ask yourself why you estimated that time wrong. Was there a hidden issue? Did a problem happen? Did you get distracted? Make it a point to make a note for that next time. And then, of course, change the time on your to-do list for how long the task is actually going to take you. Okay, so here's where you plug it all in. So you have chunks of time for your 3 to 5 categories blocked in your calendar, and you have your goals for each category. Um, you have your goal-driven to-do list to get you there. You know how long each task on your list is going to take you. Now it's time to plug each task in your blocks of time on your calendar so you actually know exactly what you will be working on when. So now it's time for your homework. Plug in all the tasks that you need to do into the schedule. The things that you need to do are the things that will get you closer to achieving your great big goals in your 3 to 5 categories, okay? Then around those times, put in those non-priority or other task items. This is like laundry, making dinner, watching Netflix. You've got to get where it becomes a habit, and life is going to happen. Things are going to happen, and you can, again, always adjust if needed, but at least organize it so you're doing it. Remember, you need to prioritize your to-do list. You want to put the rocks in first, then the pebbles, and then finally the sand. So sometimes you do the things you want, like this is the sand, instead of the things you need to do, like the rocks and pebbles. So prioritize. It's just like we tell our kids, if you want to watch a show or go play with friends or whatever, you have to do this first and this first before doing it, okay? So what is going to get you to your goals and fill you up inside? So I want you to take this system of time management, take your 3 to 5 categories, block out your time. Now within those blocks of time, plug in all the tasks that you need to actually do. Actually list out those daily to-do lists that you got from reverse engineering your goals, and physically write it down. This is what is going to keep you disciplined and turn it into a habit, and really try to commit to this for like a whole month. We'll talk about multitasking a little bit later on, but real quick, I just want to point out that multitasking uses mental processing power, and it drains your mental capacity in the same way having a bunch of apps open in the background on your computer or phone drains its processing power. So you can't and shouldn't schedule blocks of time smaller than 15 minutes on most calendars. So there's really no room in a time block day for taking 30 seconds to just go check your email or scroll Instagram, or to do a mosquito task on your list. Even if they don't actually fill your time, these tiny tasks distract you enough that you'll never get into like a productive state. Okay, so a much more productive and sanity-inducing way to handle a lot of small tasks you have is to batch them together into one block of time. So for example, say you've got a bunch of mosquito tasks. Now, the mosquito tasks, these are the little tasks that buzz around in your head all day long, taking up valuable mental energy. So those are what I call mosquito tasks, the things that are just on my mind, like, oh, I have to get this done. So what I do when they're buzzing around in my head, I just always keep a pad, because I'm a paper person, pad, and I just write it down. Then what I do is I will block in like an hour of time, and for me to work on, just bust out my mosquito tasks. Like, oh yeah, I needed to return that bill. I needed to fix my letterboard. I needed to bring up a tote from the basement. I needed to, clean up a spill that happened. All these little things that, if I could stop and work at them right away, but then it would distract me from my time blocking. And so instead, I just write it on a list as it comes into my brain, and then I get it out and I move on. And then I feel at peace, and I'm not worried about it because I know I have time to work on that later. Okay. So, your calendar will now keep track of your day for you, which is really great. With time blocking, the calendar is no longer the interruption between your unbroken stretches of actual work. It's the thing that reminds you what you're actually working on, when to start and when to end. And it keeps you honest with your day's plans and goals without having to constantly spend mental energy and become exhausted, because we moms are already just so exhausted. So it forces you to be realistic with your time, and it takes advantage of something called Parkinson's law. So Parkinson's law simply states that work expands so as to fill the time available for its completion. So having one big long rolling to-do list and listing all of your to-dos as things that have to happen today let your brain erroneously assume that you have all day to get them done. But with time blocking, knowing you actually only have 10 a.m. to noon to get one specific task done, and that you've already blocked your afternoon out for other tasks, you're more likely to get it done earlier in the day and in less total time. So, for example, say I need to make some invitations for a baby shower I'm throwing. If it's just on my to-do list and I need to plan this baby shower and I just think, oh, I've got all day to plan it, then it just doesn't end up getting done because there's going to be so many interruptions and distractions. Instead, if I say, okay, my daughter's at preschool from 9 to noon. I can fit in, I can go to the gym, I can check my girl into the kids club, and I can sit in the lobby and I can plan this party for an hour and a half. Then I know when I wake up that morning, that's when I'm going to be planning the party, because in the afternoon, I'm not going to have time to work on it because my kids will be home from school and up from nap. And that's when I'm going to have intentional time with them and do things together with them. And I can't plan this party. It'll just be way interrupted. So that's kind of this idea of Parkinson's law. Okay. So this might, don't let time blocking scare you. This might seem like too much scheduling, but here's why I think it's an appropriate amount. One is you don't have to schedule everything in complete detail. Just make the blocks, okay? And only do one thing or maybe a couple things during that block. You won't accomplish your entire to-do list for a specific category in one block of time for that category. But you can work through that to-do list over the course of several blocks of time. So say I've got for my side hustle, I always have like a to-do list. I basically have a monthly to-do list, things I need to get done throughout the month. So I know I'm not going to get the whole to-do list done in one block of time. I know though that I have a month to get it all done. And so I plug in certain tasks every block of time, and I know what I didn't get done, I'll just get to work on the next week. So the other thing that's great is it's not going to weigh on you because you have it scheduled time to work on it later. So for example, I won't worry about the dishes piling up in the sink in the morning when I'm getting kids ready for school because I've scheduled time to tackle that during nap time. I won't worry about answering emails or scheduling appointments because I've scheduled 30 minutes to do that after I drop my kid off at school. So when things are coming up in your head that you need to get done, add it to the to-do list, but then, we'll talk about when to plan this all in, but you'll plan it in and it'll be in your to-do list and you won't have to worry about it. So my standard evening block is just a chunk up from 4 to 7 p.m. It just says intentional family time. My morning work time, it's not micromanaged, it's just a big chunk. So you can just plan big chunks of time, and then the to-dos and what goes in them is probably going to change every day. The other thing why I think this is appropriate is that you can change the schedule at will, but only if you made it. So you can always revise your schedule. And there's two main times for revision. One's at the end of the block of time and one at the end of the day. So revision at the end of the block of time means that you estimated inaccurately how long it was going to take. Revision at the end of the day is that future facing. It reflects your priorities changing or stuff coming up and projects taking more or less time than you expected them to, or chores or whatever. So neither of these are a big deal. Your day, I will tell you right now, your day will almost never go 100% as you expect, and that is totally fine. So say you are done with something early, just to adjust your calendar to reflect that, and then either pull your next task forward. You can take a break, or maybe you could that's when you could do some mosquito tasks and check some things off. But finally, just don't let time blocking scare you. If blocking the whole day scares you, just don't block the whole day. Block the times when you know that you'll be able to get stuff done and actually put the to-do list in there. Okay, so now it's time for some homework. So to recap, here are the key takeaways. and homework items to do from this video. Take your great big goals and work backwards to break them down into monthly, weekly, and daily goal-driven to-dos. Make a to-do list for each non-negotiable category and estimate how long each task will take. Make your to-do list for your mosquito tasks. Plug the tasks into the allotted blocks of time on your calendar, okay? And then be sure to check in for tomorrow's video. We are going to be talking all about eliminating distractions.